as has been the case the last 2 days, right? Or is it like the last 3 or 4 days of the show? Antonio Brown is the lead. Antonio Brown is the lead. Of course, the news broke yesterday that he has been accused of sexual assault and rape by his former trainer, someone he's known since college. She's put her name out there, Brittany Taylor.
Pictures, everything.
Pictures are out. She's going to talk with the league next week.
She's getting married this weekend or something, right? Was it next?
Yes, she's getting married soon. And interesting, on a Worship Wednesday, they met in Bible study in college.
Yes, I saw that.
And one of the sexual assaults, alleged sexual assaults, took place while they were watching a church service on television. So this is all sorts of ugly in many different ways.
Man.
This is just, it's just bad.
Chris,
it's bad all around.
I'm not going to make any jokes, but that is, when you hear those details, it is kind of weird.
Yes. She's saying that Antonio Brown claimed to be a religious guy. And obviously, even without this, you got to question some of that. But anyway, here is some sound.
These allegations are false. He denies every one of them. I am very confident that his legal team has facts that will prove this. Antonio and I both strongly believe that these allegations are very serious. In no way do we condone any type of illegal conduct, misbehavior. None of that happened here. This is a money grab.
That was Drew Rosenhaus.
Drew Rosenhaus, who we've heard. It's almost like he's in the league. We're hearing from him so much every day, it seems. That's Antonio Brown's agent. He denied it. His lawyer sent out a long statement denying it and giving explanations for some of the things that went on. She, of course, details everything in her civil suit, what she alleges happened. And the question, Rob, should he be able to play on Sunday? Because the Patriots, they could suspend him. They could move on from him. They could decide that they don't want to deal with him. Roger Goodell, the commissioner, could put him on the exempt list. Or they could just let the legal situation play out and let him play until then. What do you think?
I think because you're messing with someone's career, their livelihood.
Now, remember, if he goes on the exempt list, he does get paid.
Right, but there's a whole stigma that goes with it. And even if you're exonerated, it's a tough spot to be in. But my whole point is, Chris, that I think you should let the legal, because it's not a criminal act. If this was a criminal charge.
Well, it is a criminal act.
No, criminal.
She's not filing.
I'm talking about
charges.
Criminal charges is what I'm saying. Criminal charges. That she didn't have a police report. She's not trying to get him locked up and saying that's not what she's looking for. This is a civil lawsuit. I think you let it play out. You allow him to play and earn a living until there's a judgment, till there's some sort of finality to it, and then you can make your case. Anybody can file a lawsuit against you. You know that,
right?
So a plumber can file a lawsuit. There could be just almost anything. I don't know. Does that mean that, and I'm just being hypothetical, do you just go in and act immediately when there's some sort of lawsuit and take somebody away from their job or whatever, unless the police are coming and they say, hey, this happened, we're going to arrest you, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only way that to me, you should be stopped from playing. Then playing doesn't matter. But a civil lawsuit is hard for me to believe that. And we saw it today. He practiced today. Yeah. If they really wanted to do something, nope.
That's the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots they're not going to do anything. They're going to wait till the league. If the league doesn't put him on the exempt list, I think he'll be playing Sunday.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to do anything. And as you said, today was a great sign that they're not going to do anything because they let him practice.
Right.
I agree with everything pretty much that you said, Rob, in that, our whole rule of law in this country is innocent until proven
Yes,
guilty.
we lose sight of that.
Right. I have my personal feelings, and it's hard for me to remove the fact that I have 2 daughters from thinking about this case.
I get it, Chris.
And, putting one of them in that situation just sickens me. And, so it's hard for me to remove that from him. And I get what you're saying, but I look at it, and I also say this. Our country, man, I mean, a lot of people that do, let's just call it what it is. We had a president, Bill Clinton, who was in the White House and seduced and had an affair with a 21-year-old intern in the Oval Office. That, again, hard for me to remove myself from that, thinking of my daughters who are 21 years old. If they were in that situation, I'd be ticked off, to say the least. We got a president now in the White House, Donald Trump, who is caught on tape admitting that he sexually harassed some women. So this country now, our moral standards are low, very low. It's not just athletes. It's not just politicians either. But it is hit. I mean, we don't even have to go through the Me Too movement. It's hit every realm of our society. It's sad and it's pretty disgusting. But anyway, getting back to AB, Rob, I get what you're saying, but I think the precedent has been set that he should be on the exempt list. And here's why I say that. I'm not going to cause an uproar if he's not. Because as I said, we got people operating in sports and outside of sports who have done terrible things and admitted to doing terrible things. But Michael Vick was placed on the exempt list for what he did with the dogs. And I am not trying to blow over what he did with animals, but we're talking about a human being. And I put a human being above animals. But he was put on the exempt list for that. And I get it, that was a criminal case. And you other guys, Greg Hardy, Josh Brown, Reuben Foster, a lot of these were criminal cases, right? Adrian Peterson. But Jonathan Vilma was put on the exempt list for Bountygate. And Rob G, correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things, but he was put on the exempt list for Bountygate. Adrian Peterson spanking, horribly, but spanking kids. And when you look at what Antonio Brown is alleged to have done compared to just those two, Michael Vick and Jonathan Vilma, this is worse than Bountygate, as bad as that might be, if what's alleged is worse than that. And we all have a track record. We all are judged by our track records. If Meta World Peace, Ron Artest, does something crazy, he's going to be judged differently than a player or ex-player who had a clean slate throughout their career. It's just the precedent. It's track record. It's your resume. And so when you look at Antonio Brown's track record as well, I mean, we don't even have to go through everything that he did in Oakland, of course. But he threw furniture off a balcony, a year or two ago, and nearly hit a toddler, which would have killed him. He's been accused of not paying another personal trainer, not paying his personal chef. And there are other things, reckless driving, another domestic dispute with the mother of his child. And he taped John Gruden on a phone call, which is illegal.
No, John
without
Gruden,
his consent.
John Gruden consented.
Gruden didn't. He consented that he could put it on the internet afterwards, but Gruden did not know he was being taped.
Oh, I thought they said the producers said that Gruden agreed
No,
to
the
it.
videographer said that he taped Gruden without Gruden's knowledge, and then when they wanted to put it on the internet, the videographer was like, "Oh, we're not going to be able to use it." And Antonio Brown contacted Gruden, and Gruden said it was fine. So Gruden didn't know he was being taped. That's illegal.
But Gruden also could have said no then.
No, he could have, but that doesn't change the fact that Antonio Brown did something illegal.
Go ahead. I got a couple.
So I just think there's and again, I'm not going to be, raise a holy ruckus if he's not put on the exempt list. I'm just looking at the precedent that's been set. I'm looking at his track record, and the commissioner is his discretion. And his whole thing is to try to protect the league and what will make the league look good or bad. And I think that, honestly, fans are going to have a hard time watching Antonio Brown this Sunday with all of this hanging on his head and cheering for him with all of this hanging on his head. And again, I know other guys have done things, that are horrible too. But for those reasons, I think they should put him on the exempt list.
I could not disagree with you more. I think this is the rush to judgment that this country has turned into.
I'm not judging him. I don't know. I'm just saying by the precedent. The other one. What about the other guys?
We got an owner of the Patriots who was involved in a prostitution situation. Who still he hasn't been suspended by the league yet. They haven't done anything to him. He's still running the organization. He's still in the owner's box. That nothing has been done to him. And they have him on videotape. This ain't no he said, she said, which is what we have here.
It's terrible. It's bad what he did. It's not what Antonio Brown's alleged to have done.
It's still.
You would agree with that?
Yes. His is a criminal situation.
Bad, but yeah.
Okay. But Robert Kraft's is a criminal situation where he was booked and fingerprinted, right? And it's a felony. Here's the other thing. You don't know if you remember this, Chris. You're a little younger than me. But in 1997, Michael Irvin, I'll never forget this. He was famously falsely accused of sexual assault by this woman named Nina Sharavan. I think that's how you pronounce it. She ended up, being honest and saying that it was false, and wound up spending 90 days in jail for a false report. And I'll never forget. May he rest in peace. One of the best sports columnists I've ever read, Dave Anderson from the New York Times, Chris, where you worked.
Yep, worked with him.
And he wrote a column, and I don't know if you can still find it, where he basically said Michael Irvin should be thrown out of the NFL and never be allowed to play again. That was the column
before she came out.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's why I'm always, and that 1997, I'll never forget it, because I thought people, because of Michael Irvin's past transgressions, rushed to judgment to say because he did these other things, he must have done this. And that's what I'm against. That's what
I agree with you, Rob.
This is the one thing you got.
Judging him. I don't know if he did. I'm not saying he did it.
But I'm just saying,
when you look at, we didn't know if Michael Vick had done it.
It's the same.
And that's dogs. We didn't know if Jonathan Vilma had done it. And that's Bounty Gate.
But I'm saying
I'm just saying there's a precedent that's been set.
I'm saying you got an owner right there with the team that he's on who has not been disciplined. For you want to talk about
two wrongs don't make a right.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just trying to say I want you to be consistent.
That's why I'm trying to be. I'm saying the precedent has been set. That's consistency.
What happened to Bob Kraft then? If that's the consistency about smearing
you can say that, and that's fine. That's another subject.
I'm just telling you, I'm against it. I think you should go on, because if it's a criminal case and the police are involved, Chris, I'm with you 100%. Anybody can file a civil lawsuit. You got to be careful about that. All right, so people do it all the time.
Here's the thing,
I'm not saying whether it happened or not.
I'm not in total disagreement with you. I was just saying, based on the precedent the league has set, and here's the other thing, because you mentioned livelihood and things like that. And when you're on the exempt list, you get paid.
No, that's a good thing.
So Antonio Brown would still get his money. So it wouldn't be, I obviously wouldn't be able to play, but he would get his money. And so even if, he's proven innocent or shown to be innocent.
Not guilty.
Then, not guilty. Then he wouldn't be out any money, and he'd eventually be able to play. So it's a tough one. I mean, I'm not pounding my fist that he's got to be on the exempt list, but I'm looking at the precedent that's been set, particularly with Michael Vick and Jonathan Vilma. And I'm saying, you know what? He probably needs to go on the exempt list. What do you guys think? 877-99 on Fox. Yeah.
All right, Jacob in New Mexico. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Jacob?
What up, fellas?
How you?
What's
Man,
happening?
you guys make me laugh, but right now you're making me scream into my radio, Chris Broussard. You're wrong, wrong, wrong. You know what? Let the man play. You can't always go off of assumptions of what people say and automatically make this man guilty. If we were to do that, what if someone comes out and says Larry Fitzgerald did something, even though his track record says...
Well, that plays into it. That plays into it. And I hear you. Again, I'm not like, this is a tough one. And my main argument is the precedent that's already been set. Michael Vick was on the exempt list for something he did to animals, not a human being. Jonathan Vilma was on the exempt list for Bountygate, which happens in the realm of the sport. Not as bad as what Antonio Brown's accused of. That's all I'm saying. I'm not mad at those that say he should play, but from a football standpoint, I'd like to see him play just because I think it'll be a great experience watching him and Tom Brady.
Mickey.
But it's, I think the precedent's been set.
Mickey in Ohio, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What you got?
Yeah, I'm calling it about the Antonio Brown thing.
Yes.
You know what? If the Patriots are saying, you know what, we knew nothing about this, and that's fine. But you can't sit there and tell me that AB and his people didn't know anything about this.
Mickey, let me ask you.
The simple fact that this didn't come out before. He should be. If he lied to them, I'm sure there's language in the contract that he signed.
But Mickey, you don't know when they're going to serve you with a lawsuit. How did he? He doesn't know all the time. You don't know that.
There's a letter sent before the lawsuit is ever filed.
But you don't.
They knew it was coming. You
don't
get
know.
Your head out of the sand.
But you don't know exactly when it's coming. Is my point. I mean, you don't. Yeah, they could say that they're threatening to sue you, but you don't know when exactly it comes down. There's a lot of steps that happen before that. Thanks for the call. Let's squeeze in one more. Eric in Long Beach, California. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What you got, Eric?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I absolutely believe Antonio Brown should play, though I'm not a big fan. But I just watched that movie about that Long Beach Poly player that spent time in prison on that false accusation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man,
Yep.
I'm not one of those guys that sit there and cries at that movie, man. But we got to watch this. There's got to, we can't just go off. We got to be careful because the law is a very sticky thing, man.
It really is.
Well,
I'm glad you
remember
brought
this.
that up, Eric, because that was painful.
Remember this. If he's put on the exempt list, it's not saying he's guilty, and he's still getting paid. So I hear what everybody's saying, and I'm not presuming he's guilty at all. I don't know, obviously.
Nobody does. I don't know. I'm not saying
so
I know either.
He's guilty.
Okay.
Put him on the exempt list. I'm just saying the precedent's been set. All right.
Hey, it's the Odd Couple. I'm Chris. He is Rob. And we want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. You can listen to us on the radio, and now you can watch us as well, and it's fun.
No question about it. And remember, oh, yeah!